Running in circles and trying to find ways to get paid without getting locked in and spending some time in the cage. Niggas be hating, but trust me, the feelings are same. And that's how I feel it, I'm taking that shit to the grave.
So first of all, congratulations on the second round KO with, against Pachino Hill this Saturday. For those that don't really know you, who is Darius Fulghum?
Oh man, that's always a good question to ask, because it's hard to really put into words, right? Who I am. You know, sometimes I think about, okay, you know, I'm a boxer right now. I'm 9-0, 9 KOs, but I feel like I'm a lot more than that.
Right.
For people viewing this, just for simple terms, my name's Darius Fulghum. I grew up in Texas my whole life. Grew up in Kiiing, Texas, and so I live out in Houston now. And my main thing I want people to know about me is that I'm chasing the biggest dream of my life, which is to be a generational fighter. To go down with the biggest names in the sport, where we're talking about generations later, people are still talking about, man, Darius DFG Fulghum, man, like, oh, he would, you know, where they're still comparing like me to some other future fighters, and like, man, he ain't better than da or whatever, you know. Like, I just want to leave a legacy like that where I can be really still talked about in this sport for years.
For sure. What made you take the boxing route? I know your brother played football, if I'm not mistaken. What made you take the boxing route?
So, you know, football was always like I'm from Texas. Football is huge.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, my brother is my biggest inspiration. Like, that's my idol and everything, man. Like, it's just everything, his work ethic, his drive. I've really seen how he is, and he does like everything by the book, man. Like, he embodies a lot of what I want to be like. But football just wasn't for me. I'd be at practice and I'm like, that just isn't my thing, you know. But I started wrestling in high school and I fell in love with that. It really was just in the combat sports. Like, my biggest issue with team sports, I never liked the pointing fingers. I never liked we lost to this person or this person. The thing I love about combat sports is just the accountability of it. You know, if I win, it's because I won. If I lost, it's because I lost. You know, right. And that's the one thing I was really drawn to in the combat sports. Was no pointing fingers. It was all on me, and I like that. Some people shy away from that, but I love that. You know.
Yeah.
And so after I finished wrestling and stuff, I was originally getting to MMA, and but I started boxing. I need to learn striking anyway for MMA.
Yeah, right.
I fell in love with it immediately. I was like, oh, this is it. And then so that was when I made it. It was my senior year of high school. I had made the decision that this was what I was going to do.
And your amateur and Olympic experience. I know the Olympic situation because of COVID and everything. Yeah. How was that though?
It was so as far as the Olympic experience, time worked out perfectly, and it was nothing that I regret. Like, the experience was amazing. I think I wish I would have got a better experience. Like, my issue with the experience that I personally had was it was during COVID. And so anytime when I was on Team USA, we were still able to travel around, going to camps and stuff like that. But there was a lot of restrictions on us. We really couldn't do much while we were there, you know.
Right.
We would go to camp and we would be kind of locked in a room, come out to go train, go right back into the room. You know, it just wasn't a good environment to really compete in. So we would go to competitions under these same conditions, and we were just, like I said, just kind of trapped in a room. And I found out a lot about myself during this time. I couldn't perform well under those conditions mentally, right? But I'm thankful for the experience overall. I got to be around a lot of my great teammates, learn a lot from them, train with some of the best people in the world, travel the world, you know. So overall, it was still a great experience, you know. It really did help me out where I'm at now, seeing a lot of different styles, and like I said, networking and learning from these guys. So everything, it was a blessing for me, you know.
Now that you're signed with Golden Boy officially, how was that, and how did that come about?
So when I first turned pro, I had signed with another promotion company and stuff. I had a couple of fights with them, and then, you know, I got a release from them, and then I was going independent for a while. And so during that period of time, I got to be on a lot of different Golden Boy shows. I think now this I think my 6th Golden Boy show that I fought on. But officially signed with them this is my 2nd. So I've had experience being on their shows. I've seen what their shows are like, and I've got to establish a relationship with all the people and the staff at Golden Boy. And man, like the way they treat me, the way the shows are amazing. I love them. They're always extremely exciting. They're always jam-packed. The energy in there is great. The staff, I have a great relationship with the staff. I love them. And so I started to establish a really good relationship with them, and they've really handled my career amazing. Like, I mean, they're keeping me busy, keep me active, keep me fighting and promoting me really well. So my experience with Golden Boy has been nothing but phenomenal.
Where are you campaigning at as far as what division? Because I know earlier in your career you was fighting more at like light heavy.
Right.
Your last couple of fights I see you fighting a little lower weight. Are you going to campaign there, or are you going to go to super middleweight?
Yeah, so super middleweight's weight class I'm going to campaign at. You know, amateurs, I was at heavyweight, then I started working my way down. Right. So I did a couple at light heavy, but super middleweight really is the better division for me to compete at and campaign, because, again, I told you my dream aspirations are to be a generational fighter, and super middleweight has the names in that division for me to do that, right? Light heavyweight, not necessarily so much. But Andre Ward is a big inspiration of mine. I love the embodiment of his whole career, and even him. I see him take over, dominate 168, go up to light heavy. You know, so light heavyweight still is a division I can go up to later. But there's a lot bigger names at 168 that I want to eventually be able to attack later in my career. So 168, I feel like is a better division for me.
Inspirations besides Andre Ward, do you have any other? And your brother, do you have any other inspirations in boxing, maybe?
That I would say in boxing, Andre Ward is the top one. I mean, I can go with a list of fighters that I do like to watch. Sugar Ray Leonard was one of my favorites that I love to watch.
Yeah.
I know he's gotten a lot of slack right now because of the last performance, but I think Shakur is an extremely talented fighter. I know people are judging him on his last performance, but I'm like, man, that was his last performance, but he had some dominant performances right before that was extremely exciting. But I learned a lot from watching his style. And I always had to give shout out to my homeboy Marquise Taylor. He's somebody I came up in the gym with. He's not necessarily well known like that, but man, I really look up to this guy. Talented individual. He's the old snatcher, you know. But I have to also mention him, even though he's not a well known name, but that's my guy though.
Yeah, for sure. What are your plans for 2024?
2024, I think, is really gonna be my breakout year. Seriously, so you know. Obviously, like, looking at my career as it is now, you know, I'm 9-0, 9 KOs, but, you know, I haven't really necessarily faced any adversity yet, right? And that's, I think, a big problem with a lot of people who look at me as like, man, you know, he's like, I haven't seriously gotten really hit really much at all in any of my 9 fights, you know? I made them all look extremely easy, but I wanted to be known. My plan is still the competition. I'm doing 10 rounders 2024, my next fight. And I want to be known, you know, competition is going to be going up, but I want my fights to look exactly the same. I want people to look at my fights and feel like, even though feel like I'm fighting bums. They're like, oh, that dude's because I'm making it look that easy. Like, I want to look that, even though they're not bums, I want people to think like, man, he's not fighting nobody. But realistically, anybody in the boxing world knows for next year I'll be fighting better competition, better names. But nonetheless, I want to make it look still so easy.
Yeah.
And by the end of 2024, though, I want to be in a position where I can call out those big names. You know, I'm not in a position right now where I can call out any names and say I want to fight this person. You know, because I'm just not in that position to do that. You know, they'd be like, hey, even if I did, it wouldn't happen like that. I'm not in a position to call those names out. So by the end of 2024, I want to be able to call out these bigger names to make these big fights happen.
So I do have a question about that. So, I mean, I know the big names at 168, maybe not necessarily yet, but what about like other prospects like Edgar Berlanga or in that realm, David Morrell?
I'd have no problem fighting any of those guys. It didn't be a thing if they would fight me, you know. So
yeah, right.
You know that. Do I have anything to offer really for them to take a risk and fight me? No, you know. So that's where it becomes the big dilemma on the business side of it, you know. So
right.
Again, I have no problem fighting anybody. The hard thing for me is I don't ever want to call out anybody that's less than a champion, to be honest. Because I don't ever want to seem like I'm like picking fighters. If they're not a champion, then I won't ever seem like I'm cherry picking anybody. So if they're not a champion, I'm not calling out their names, you know. So because he's just cherry picking, like he's just picking this person, that person. I don't ever want to seem like that. So it'd be hard for me to call out any names. But I would say I'm not opposed to fighting really anybody. It's just then again if they would fight me, you know. Sadly, it's the business of boxing. Stuff has to make sense. So,
true.
Look, my whole thing is, and everybody knows, just whoever they send me is who I'm fighting.
DFG, where did you get that name from?
So DFG, it kind of came from a lot of things that I embody. So again, I took Andre Ward was my biggest inspiration, and when I was trying to think of like nicknames, I didn't want to come up with anything like corny. Like I felt like Darius the Punisher or Darius the Destroyer, whatever. Like I felt like those are like kind of like corny names or whatever, and I didn't want to do anything like that. And but I was trying to find something that fit my name, which is also kind of hard, right?
Right.
So long story short, Andre Ward, his was an acronym, SOG,
right,
for Son of God, and I kind of love how that came off, Andre SOG Ward, and so I was trying to think of something that meant a lot to me, that was very inspirational, motivational, and I ended up coming up with DFG, which stands for Destined for Greatness, and it kind of fit an ideology that I always had when I was a kid, where I felt like I just always knew somewhere. So I said, man, I was going to be great. Like I always had these aspirations and dreams to be great at something, just didn't know what that was, right? And I wanted to fit the mold for everybody, where, it's not just boxing, I feel like anything you set your foot in, you aspire to do, you should want to be great at it. And that can go in any realm. Anybody that rocks with DFG and feel like they're destined to be great can be in anything in the corporate world, anything in athletic, anything in designer and their brand or whatever it is. But it all stems from just a mindset, really, of just the belief that you have in yourself. That's what Destined for Greatness really is. It's just a belief in yourself. I know what that's done for me in my career, and so that's something I want to spread to everybody else too.
When do you plan on getting back in the ring? I mean, I know you just fought, so you're probably going to get some time off, but like, when do you plan on getting back in the ring? Maybe next February, March, something like that?
Nah, I think in January.
Okay.
Yeah, probably look more like end of January, I think.
Okay. And is there anything you want to let any of the fans know?
Well, please, anybody that's watching, follow my journey. It's just my name at Darius Fulghum, Darius Fulghum. I think the cool thing about, the journey is always the best part, but, I'm saying now, DFG, I'm destined to be great. Got these big aspirations of being great. at the beginning of my career. I think it's the coolest thing to be able to see something really from the very beginning all the way to the end, you know? So hope anybody listening will want to follow my story, follow my journey, and really see, you know, really from the grassroots of me saying I'm gonna do this, and then seeing if I actually do it or not.
Right.
So anybody just follow my journey. My Instagram is the main thing I use, so it's just my name at Darius Fulghum.
I'll definitely make sure I tag everything in the description and everything. Thanks, man. I definitely appreciate it for sure. And I'm definitely trying to make your next fight. I'm be honest with you, I'm definitely trying to get it. So definitely let me know what's going on, where it's going to be. I'm definitely trying to get there for sure.
For sure, brother. For sure.
All right.
And again, I appreciate your time too, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, for real.
Yeah.